Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndrea, here with Bill Goldberg. How are you, sir?
I'm cold.
Cold. Weather's changing, man. Weather's coming in
Yeah,
out there.
we strategically finished the Cobra in ample enough time for me to drive it two or three times before the temperature dropped 30 degrees.
Yeah. So now I know I've mentioned this once before, but all the great car people that I follow on social media, it's getting closer to that time of the year where they're like, I'm working on my car. And it's like, oh, because you can't go out. Right? Like you have winter. We don't have winter out here. Like we have rainy season and fire season, but that's about it in California. But that's, like today, this
Oh,
morning we were out walking the dogs. I'm like, man, it's hot out here already. The sun's coming down. But yeah, then it'll get a little chilly, but that's about it. Um, yeah, so now we're just dialing the Cobra. I know we got onto this a lot last week, and not to beat this horse to death, but dialing in the car, spending a little time, getting some seat time, having the guys come out and ride along with you, and suspension, dialing it in. You got the new 5-speed transmission. That's got to have a new first gear compared to your to 4-speed, so that's going to change your rear ratio, right? The rear end gear ratio.
that's our dilemma right now. It's not a dilemma. I mean, it's actually good in that it makes the car safer because it's not nearly as violent. But yeah, it needs to be rectified so that we can match everything up and have the same type of experience that we did with this four speed. But yeah, change the ring and pinion. I got some axle seal leaking issues, so we'll rectify the entire rear end when we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. But that rear end wasn't a part, right? That was just from when you had it before, when it drove before. So obviously no gear changes. You didn't rebuild it. You didn't change seals or anything like that. That was just all just I don't know, just cleaned it up, you installed the new shocks and springs and just stuff
Oh, that-
around it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and the reality is there's not many miles on the car, so there wasn't an apparent issue that we could see, so there was no reason to take it apart. We weren't going to change the innards by any means, but now we are going to have to. So it's another step. I mean, hey, shaking these cars down, I, shaking the car down is a lot easier when you have a NASCAR motor in it that rumbles the freaking car at idle so much that before you even go out on the road, you can figure out what's loose.
Yeah. Right?
So I guess there's a positive to it, but um, hey, man, it's a fun experience. I'm ecstatic that I'm behind the wheel instead of trying to mount the wheel. But yeah, certain issues.
And so but you got it to idle now and it fires up and it
Oh
idles
yeah,
well.
yeah. So you have Clint's place, you have Manny's place next door, and there's a place called Snake Eater right next door to that.
Yeah, that's what you're mentioning last week.
I told you. And I told them that it was going to be a time to hand the baton. Now it's time to hand the baton. They're the carb guys, so they came out. And I mean, I don't know what's more embarrassing. The fact that I forgot to change the rev limiter on the box, the MSD, or that I didn't identify the vacuum leak instantly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But easy fix though. But
Extremely easy.
like
The fabulous thing is that along the way, if we've had an issue, it's been something really easy to rectify.
yeah. So it fires up, it's driving, just working out a few kinks. I meant to ask you, did you play around with the windshield? Did you like stuff anything underneath to try to close the gap? Did you figure out like what
Yeah,
you want to
I
do
mean,
there?
I didn't take the windshield off yet, but
Because we were talking like double stick
molding,
tape or
yeah,
something just to get it in there.
the
Yeah, just to see.
molding that I put it this way. If you lift up if you lift up the weather stripping in the front that hangs down on the windshield, right? It attaches
Yeah.
to the bottom of the windshield, and when you affix the windshield to the car, it hangs in front, right? To
Yeah, it's
cover.
like a little flap.
I can stick my finger through the bottom of the windshield frame and see my finger outside of the weather stripping. It's
Where?
that
On the ends or the middle or
middle,
the
middle,
middle?
not on the ends at all. So it's like crowning, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the weather stripper that I have isn't thick enough. Now, yes, I could do the idea that we had, which I'm probably still going to do, but I think what's going to happen is Clint's gonna build me a like a carbon fiber little bracket that sits on top. You won't be able to see it, but it'll sit on top of the fiberglass, and it'll sit right in the frame will sit right into it. And so it'll probably be 12 inches long, something like that. But it varies. We're
And
gonna
it'll
have
be
to
kind
put
of bowed a little and
yeah,
it'll
we're
fill
gonna
that.
have to
Yeah.
put clay down and then get a mold and then take the mold off and then clean it up and then
Yeah.
remanufacture the mold in some other type of material. And I think that'll rectify it. It'll
Yeah.
be something that people won't see, but it'll surely give me the peace of mind that the windshield's not going to move. But it's not going to move anyway right now. It's just knowing that I have that gap, and I don't think air is going to get through um, because the weather stripping is so taut down on the fiberglass.
Yeah.
It's just I know it's there, and I get a little bit of a wobble. I mean, that freaking thing's so violent anyway; it shakes everything down in the car. But it's just a pain in the ass. That's all. It's not causing any type of a problem, but it's one of those things that I know is there,
Yeah. Right.
has to be
And
rectified.
it's just annoying.
That's all.
It's yeah.
Like the whistling on Gage's Bronco, right? Because of his roll bar, his light bar.
Yeah.
Whistles at 50 miles an hour. It's a pain in the ass. And it's one of those things you kind of deal with.
Right. Okay. Well, it's good. So yeah, getting it dialed in more, like you said before the cold weather really rolls in. But out there it's also kind of Midwestish weather changes
Yeah.
on a
I mean,
dime.
I still got a couple weeks, I guarantee you, to go out and enjoy this vehicle. I actually tagged it yesterday for the first time since we've been here in Texas. I got the Texas title for it, got it tagged, and so I'm legal. And yeah, no emissions tests anymore, no nothing like that. No inspection. Um, it's
Yeah.
nice, $7 for every car out here, but it's just a pain in the ass. But anyway, another issue that we're having, it's not an issue, but Nitto and Harry Kong have been friends of ours for extremely long period of time, and every vehicle that I have has Nittos on it. But I couldn't do it here because I wanted the old nostalgic, white letter Goodyear look. And
Yeah.
I spent some time going back and forth with Harry yesterday, and it looks as if they may have something very close size wise to the 26 10.5 15 in the rear. Um, so I'm going to give it a shot, and then we're going to do we're going to paint the big Nitto on the side
Yeah.
in white lettering, and so it'll be the same effect, the same look. It'll just be the my actual tire sponsor as opposed to Goodyear.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah. Look, it's worth a shot. Honestly, I didn't even know it had a 15-inch like street
I didn't
tire
know that.
like
I
that.
didn't
I
think
thought
they
like a
did.
truck tire maybe, but I didn't think they had a 15.
No, they got R2s, man.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They got it's a 325 uh 325 50 15.
Okay. Yeah. That's
And
huge.
the fronts
I
are
mean,
two.
it's wide.
Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is it actually going to fit. But you don't know until you try, right? And the front, he suggested a 275 60 15, and I wanted to go with the 50 15 because I wanted to match up the sidewalls. But we ordered both, and so we're going to do a trial and a comparison and see what works, man. But yeah, I felt really guilty every side shot that I take. Uh,
Yeah.
advertising Goodyear when my tire sponsor is Nitto. So
Well, you've got the lifts and the quick jack and stuff over there, so you could put the car up, take one side of the wheels off and just roll the tire into the wheel well, right? Lower the car down, get it to about ride height, put the tires on the ground, and just kind of see, are the hubs lining up in the middle, take a quick measurement, see how it's going to fit. You can move that front tire around, at ride height without even a rim on it. You can just move it around in the wheel well just to see turning radius, just kind of how it just give you a quick idea before you even bother mounting a tire or any of that stuff. You can get a couple photos over to Nitto and go, this is, kind of where we are, take a couple measurements. But yeah, 325 in the back.
A monster.
It's a
It's
monster
two
tire. I
inches,
mean, it'll
2 inches
it'll
wide.
use every piece of it for sure,
No
but
question, but it's 2 inches wider of a footprint, and I don't know if that's going to work out. But like I said, man, you don't know until you try, and so
yeah, it with the wheel that you have now with the current like offset, the current specs on that wheel, the current backspace, do you have any room front to back?
yes,
Like, I mean,
yes.
if it's 2 inches wider and you don't change the wheel, you need almost an inch on the front and the back, right? So if it's all in the back, then you got to change the
And
wheel.
I'm better on space on the interior than the exterior of the tire, right?
Yeah.
I've got more room on the inside than I do the outside. So,
Yeah, that's the opposite direction because if you with that wheel to bring it in, you have to change the offset. To bring it out, you can add a little spacer, right? So if you push the
so
wheel out,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah, so
I'm doing a lot of this.
yeah, you got to cross your fingers for
I'm
sure.
doing a lot of
Yeah.
this.
But look, this is, it's worth a try. And
Part of it, and it's fun. The only not fun part is going to be, mounting and dismounting those wheels on the one set of or those tires on the one set of wheels that I have, the one set of knockoffs. I wish I had two sets, right? So I could just interchange the two as opposed to having to go out and buy a tire changing machine or go to Discount Tire every 3 days to have
yeah.
a tire.
Yeah, but if it fits well, then yeah, you could get another set of wheels.
Exactly.
Start working on that part of the equation, right? How many sets of wheels and tires can you have for that thing?
I'll tell you what, I was bitching and moaning about the knockoffs.
Yeah,
They're really easy.
they're super easy.
Long as they line up with the studs, initially, it, it's a no-brainer, right? I
Yeah,
mean, so it's just the pucker factor, that you could be going shifting from third to fourth, going 90 and have see one of your wheels rolling next to you at some
yeah,
point. But with the little guards that put on the caps, all that's a moot
yeah,
point.
yeah. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Just in the back of your mind, that's all.
Yeah,
First car with knockoffs. So
yeah. Like I said, the racing cars have the clip in it, so it doesn't back out. But you're right with
mine does. That's the clip that I'm
and
referring to.
and and Adam's cars when we drove the Lamborghinis around, like even I think one of the Ferraris, the 330, like took that to Leno's garage and then took two of the Lamborghinis to Rodeo to Bruce Meyer's like Father's Day show that he curates on Rodeo Drive and um yeah, got to before we even get it, we just grab the lead hammer just to give it another just to check just before we hit it. And then actually I took the black Lamborghini 350 GT
Mhm.
uh, early in the morning from the garage to Chateau Marmont to film it was a Gucci sunglasses commercial with James Franco. So he was directing it and he was in it. And he had called somebody on his team had called Leno and said, we're doing this commercial. We need a car. This is kind of the idea that sort of the look of the commercial. We really like the car to be vintage and be black. And and Jay was like, I don't have anything like that. Now, I don't know for sure. Maybe Jay was like, leave me alone. Don't drive my shit. Like it's good.
And
Um,
there's
yeah. And then so he was like, call Corolla. Right. So then Adam called me. It's like, somebody on Franco's team wants to borrow the car. We've got the car. What do you think? Should we do it? And I was like, aren't you planning to sell that car? And I was like, he's like, yeah. I go, well, then do it because we'll be in a Gucci commercial with James Franco, right? And we'll get some good video footage to put up at RM. I think we took that car to Amelia Island at RM and we just
Perfect. Couldn't
ran the
get a better
commercial.
photo shoot for it.
Yeah. So we got a great commercial shoot out. I was like, let's do it. So, uh, yeah, but you're right. Early in the morning, fired it up, made sure there's fuel in it. Um, uh, got the, tightened the wheels, tightened the center locks, got it down there, and then, which was interesting, was so I met with James Franco and I was like, "Here's the car. It's fairly easy to drive. I know you can drive stick. Luckily, he does. He knows how to drive stick." I go, "But it's carbureted. It's got you know a bunch of carburetors on it. Basically, it's got individual throttle body, individual carbs on it. It's got stacks on it. Basically, the web side, I think it's this, no, it's on top, and the 12 cylinder. And he was fine. I was like, so give it a little throttle. Don't worry, don't worry about like give it some. You got to give it some throttle as you're letting out that clutch a little bit. And he was good. He ran it fine. He came back in and he was just like the e-brake is sticking. So I didn't even think about it. We never used the emergency brake in that car, right? Like we park it, we just put it in gear. I never used that e-brake. So he parked it and used the e-brake. And when he push the button and let it down, it just stuck, right? It just stuck on the wheel. And he's like, it's dragging. I was like, oh, and I was like, I was like, let's switch seats real quick. It was like, and let me drive. And I just had to like throttle it hard, get off the clutch to get it to move while that brake was on. And and it was dragging that brake, and I'm just pulling up and down slightly on that e-brake lever. I'm trying to get enough heat to make it expand, right? To get it off. So it took a few tries and then it worked. It loosened it all up, but I had to like fly up and down Sunset and start hitting that brake a little bit. And James Franco's next to me on it. And he's like, so what is this that you're doing? I was like, I'm trying to unstick that e-brake for you. And the way to do it is I just got to get some heat into it because we can't get underneath there and, spread the caliper or any of that stuff. And it worked. And then he did a great job. And then their crew, we did it early in the morning just to get a little bit of sunset, but also like they were filming it at Chateau Marmont, but it was a driving video, so it was like they needed to film driving like up at Sunset Boulevard and stuff. I was like, guys, this is a very expensive road to permit, right? And they're like, yeah, we're not really doing it that way. That's why we're doing it at
I
5 in the
do it
morning.
there.
So it worked out. They instead of putting cameras all over the car, there was some GoPros, I think, inside the car, but it was really about taking the van, and the van had the camera guy, side doors open, camera guy was in there with a rig.
Mhm.
And then I was in the van with him, sitting behind him, and someone was driving, and they just did a drive along. So they had
Pretty
a good,
adventurous for the guy driving the van because he's in
yeah,
the opposite lane.
yeah. So and it worked, and it ended up being it looked great. But it was funny because we all got there early in the morning, and the car was set up, and everybody was doing their thing. And then I was like, well, James Franco must live nearby or something, right? And I was like, no, of course he's staying at the hotel, right? Because so he just comes down out of his suite and he's like, "All right, we're ready to do this." The only part that sucked was they were like, "All right, great. What do we owe you for this?" I was like, just come on in, be a guest on the Adam Carolla show, tell him what you guys were doing, plug the movies, doing whatever. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, this would be expensive. By the way, to rent a car like that, that's $10,000. Like it's not for filming and all that stuff. And
That's just getting it there.
yeah. And
It's got to be a different rate actually driving it.
Yes. Could technically you would have waivers and insurance and all kinds of shit, right? So we just showed up and we let Franco drive the car and that was it. And Adam was like, if you get some money out of him, he's like, keep the money. I was like, all right. And he goes, but see if we can get him on the show. And at the time I was like, come on the show, do it. And he was like, 100%, I'd love to do it. I'd love to be on the show. Then it's done, it's filmed. We wait like a month. We call his PR people, call his people, and we're like, hey, I heard that commercial went well. Love to have you on the show. And they're like,
What?
yeah, we're not putting him on your show. And I was like,
Exactly.
well, why not? And they go, well, it, whatever the normal like blow off is. It's like timing's not right, busy, got to film a movie, whatever. And I said, okay, but just to be clear, like, you know, this was a trade. This was a deal that we did. We spoke to James Franco. He's very sweet about it. Said he wanted to do the film or do the show, be on the podcast. And then I don't even think he knows, right? But his team was like, yeah, we're not doing that. And and then fast forward to like a year later, um, it was James Franco was doing a movie and they were screening the movie at like the Sony lot. I'm trying to think of like who was in that movie. Forgetting his Bryan Cranston. It was the movie. It was like a comedy with Bryan Cranston and James Franco, if I remember correctly. And Bryan Cranston and Adam are friends, and he was a big part of Adam's like um, uh, crowdfunding campaign that we did for another movie. He was hilarious. He was great. He called in. He was on camera. So it was Cranston's idea to go, hey, Adam, why don't you come to the Sony lot and you can moderate this Q&A and it'll be funny. It'll be me. It'll be James Franco and a couple people from the film. Adam's like, great. I'd love to do it. So now Adam's backstage with James Franco going, hey, let's go, let's do this Q&A. Everything's great. And then afterward, he's like, so, what happened with doing the podcast, man? Like, he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, we
Yeah.
did the film, we did the commercial with you guys. You sent the car over and it worked out great. And I'm sure Gucci paid you a shit ton of money to do their commercial, direct it, act in it. And, uh, and of course he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't, like, I don't, it's like, yeah, I thought I was going to do your podcast or whatever. And then I don't know, shortly after that, I forgot what happened to Franco. I think he hit on somebody when he was teaching. He teaches like film course in New York, and it was at the height of the cancel culture thing. So he sort of like canceled himself. Like somebody was like, James Franco hit on me during class, and was a student, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go hide for 5 years or whatever he ended up doing. But anyway, that's our James Franco Ferrari story, but I don't know that he was on the podcast. I don't know what happened there. Uh,
I don't even know how to comment.
yeah, that's all right. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, so just looking at what's going on in the news and with SEMA next week. So SEMA's next week. I'm going to be out there grabbing a handful of interviews. Like I said, we talked a little bit about that before. Um, going to get a little time with Ring Brothers. But Steve Strope, I don't know. Have you met Steve Strope?
But yeah.
You know Strope, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
Strope's got like long hair now. And
He's had long hair, hasn't
yeah, he has for a little while now. So he's at SEMA. He's debuting a car. I don't know exactly what. Is it a CUDA? I don't know what he's got. Maybe it's a CUDA. Um, so gonna get a little time with him. If you guys don't know Steve Strope, so Strope, great car builder, but he does this cool thing where when he sits down with his client and comes up with this car idea, he likes to sort of create this backstory of a car, going, what if this was the 60s and it was James Bond, but James Bond drove an American car instead of an Aston Martin, but it still needed to have like that suaveness to it and stuff. Like, what would that be? And let's turn that into, a Mustang or something. Or he took the opposite way. He took this Mustang and put this Indy car engine in it and gave it a Martini livery. And he's like, what if Mustangs were racing in Europe back in the day? And comes up with these really interesting themes for these cars. Um, One of the cars that he created as well, several in Fast and Furious. I'm just The one that you guys might recognize was called Hammer. I think it was in two of the films. Where you really see it is, I want to say the Tokyo Drift one. At the end of Tokyo Drift in that like parking garage, when he was like, "Hey, somebody wants to meet you," or "somebody wants to race you," and they cut to like Toretto just at the very end, like I don't know if it's part of the end credits or the end. I'm pretty sure this is the car he was in. Toretto was in this car called the Hammer.
Hmm.
Um, Really, really cool piece.
He does some badass stuff, man.
Yeah, he does some really cool stuff. But I tell you, one of the cars that I really, really love. Well, he did two. One was for a company called Anvil, called this Anvil Mustang.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know if you guys recognize this car, but it had this really cool like the engine just sort of like exposed and raw instead of all hidden underneath stuff, just
Oh
super
yeah,
clean.
that's a
Um,
fan of his.
And then he did this cantilever suspension in the rear. Now we have it in the Mustang GTD, but years ago, this was in the back of the Mustang that he built. Really cool piece. Definitely one of my favorite SEMA builds of all time. And then he brought a car to the studio, and it's probably up on our YouTube channel, but probably from 12 or 15 years ago. He calls it the Martini T5R. This is what if for Mustang had a very sort of European racing influence to it, like gave it a Martini livery, kind of a stripped down interior, looks so cool. But look at this engine. That's just the side. Let me see if I can find a shot. Here we go. So this was like, it's a little tough to kind of zoom in on this. You could probably see it. You'll see it on the YouTube video, but this is the split Indy Ford Indy engine. So the intakes are way out here onto the sides. It's not in the middle of the engine. And then he just took the two like fog light scoops and just took a little bit of hose and it just blows a little bit of cold air without a box or anything, so you don't hide it on there. It's such a cool piece.
I
It's
like
such a
his stuff because if if his if his projects were a television show, um, remember Rides?
yeah,
Uh, Less is more. Everything counts. Uh, Fine details, expert craftsmanship. You know,
100%. Yeah.
exposed, awesome, cool stuff.
I think he did episode of Rides. He must have, right? He's
Oh yeah,
because he's done some TV. He maybe did a couple. Um, and he's been by the studio and he brought a couple of cars over the years. And I know that Martini Mustang was there. It has to be up on the YouTube channel on our
Stroke's
YouTube.
badass, man. He's been around for a long time. He's got his own idea, his own way of
Yeah.
doing it. Doesn't conform, and his shit is beautiful. You know,
Um,
I like it's along the
yeah.
lines of the Ring Brothers in a way, right? For me, in that stuff is raw. I mean, the Ring Brothers cover stuff up by art sometimes, but for the most part, everything they do is top notch, but it doesn't overwhelm you,
Yes.
right? That's my
And
interpretation of
just a lot of thought to it. It's not,
it.
and you got to look at the big picture and you got to look at the story of what you're doing and sort of the theme. It's not really just looking at little pieces of the car going, oh, the bumper needs to be tucked in and it needs to be sectioned. And then, the back needs a little bit of this. It's like, is it fitting the overall theme of it? So, here's the car on our YouTube channel 12 years ago with a young Steve Strope here standing in the middle with his short
Short
hair. And so this was 12 years ago. But I guess if you just look up like Steve Strope, Martini Mustang CarCast, you'll find it on the YouTube channel. I'll try to post a couple of links on social media as well. But he just does this great walkthrough of the car, and it talks about the engine, and it's just such a cool piece that it's worth going back and watching.
Yeah, that's a cool car.
Yeah, it's a cool car. So looking forward to catching up with him. We're going to talk to Ring Brothers, probably a little bit about get more detail on the Aston Martin that they built. I think they have a Mustang coming out there. Who knows what else they have? They're always surprising us. Uh, going to talk to Trick Rides. That's what's his name? We had the other. Who am I thinking of? Um, Jason Angle. Jason Angle. Yeah, pretty. He had classic recreations doing this great Mustangs and stuff, and then maybe I don't know, maybe sold the company and came back. So he's got some new stuff going on. And then yeah, gonna chat with our friends at Holly, see what on the parts side of things, what they have that's new. Of course, uh, Tremec. So the TKX been around for a few years. You have it now in one car. It's going to end up being in a bunch of vehicles in your garage. And when he was on the podcast before, he was talking about taking the Mustang, the GT500 DCT transmission that they make, and putting it into a late model ish Ford Lightning. But I think what they're going to be debuting at the SEMA show is a transaxle, which is badass now, right? Because now the transaxle half shafts go into it, it shifts in the back. This is more like what the Mustang GTD has,
Mhm.
and if that's going to be available to the aftermarket, I think that's going to be interesting because the podcast I did recently with the Roadster Shop and those guys talking about the chassis, their I guess their spec series, sort of the turnkey chassis for all sorts of muscle cars and trucks and lifted trucks and late model muscles, 90s Mustangs. The one they're debuting is new Camaro, like 80s, 90s Camaro. And they've got options on there. And yeah, it'd be interesting to go to those guys, go, listen, you're making all these chassis, you have all the data. What if we wanted to do a transaxle version? So instead of a live axle, they have independent rears that they make for certain platforms. Going, let's do, for example, like the Fox Body Mustang chassis. What if we do that with a transaxle? Would that fit? Can we make that work?
Oh, it's only a matter of time.
It's right. Those guys are going to go, I'm down for the challenge. Let's do it. Like, what do we got to do? Is it going to be
Other
both
markets.
in? Do we need to change the floorboards a little bit in the back? Like, can we make it work? So it's going to come down to that conversation with Tremec going, you've created a transaxle, but how compact is it? Like you know, it's really about like when the TKX came out, they're going, well, we've got the Magnum, the 6 speed, but it's big. It doesn't fit in a lot of muscle cars. And the T5 that they have is a little long in the tooth. It doesn't handle the power, right? So, and they had the TKO, I guess, which was still kind of a big case and a little clunky on the shifting, but was a 5 speed, smaller than the 6 speed. So the TKX just has kind of the latest and greatest smooth shifting, handles the power, but the transaxle is going to be about packaging, right? If you're going to offer it to the aftermarket, it can't be massive, But now we're talking about better weight balance,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If you take that, the TKX is, I don't know, is that 80 pounds, 85 pounds? It's
82, I think.
82 pounds. if you can take that roughly 80 something pounds from the front middle and move it to the rear middle, could be interesting, right? Could be interesting. I mean, that's essentially what Corvette was doing before they went to the rear engine, to the rear mid engine, and what the GTD has done. They're doing the transaxle. Nissan GTR, transaxle. So many cars doing transact for that better weight balance. So yeah, I'm gonna talk to Mike Kidd about that, see what's going on. And I didn't know that that's a release. I just saw it like on social media or their announcement or whatever. They're like, come see us at SEMA. Here's a press release. Here's the transaxle. I'm like, this
Exactly.
is interesting. So you'll end up doing an independent rear suspension, not a live axle, obviously, an independent rear with the transaxle, which is basically the rear end and the transmission all in one unit. So the half shaft axles will go into it, and then um, a drive shaft or torque tube or something going in. So now you got to be thinking about the projects you that are on your chalkboard or your whiteboard, going,
What's next? It was
yeah,
all
what's
next. Now
next?
what's next? Ugh. Ah,
Uh,
oh,
All right. So as I was saying, next week, because I'm going to be at SEMA, I'm going to grab as many interviews as I can. I'm going to try to release episodes, maybe some bonus episodes during the week. It's not all going to come out during SEMA week because I think I have like 8 or 9 interviews lined up. And we'll probably end up doing a couple of interviews, depending on how long they are. A couple of interviews in a single episode. So maybe we'll get 2 or 3 interviews in one episode, and maybe we'll get 3 or 4 in another, and another 2 somewhere else, and then we'll just kind of figure out what the rollout schedule is. But yeah, looking forward to it. Should be fun. Trying to get some YouTube stuff there as well. But I'm a one-man band, so we'll see how it turns out. But
you
looking
can
forward.
do it. You can
Yeah.
do it.
All right, buddy. I think we're gonna wrap things up. So you're off next week because I'll be at SEMA.
I'll be here in the garage.
You can sleep in. You don't have to do the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Is that a
Sleep
thing?
in. Yeah, I
Sleeping
wish.
in?
I wish. But it's all good. It's all good, man. Well, uh, let's have some fun this week and hopefully have some very positive news on the Cobra being 100% shaken down and
Yeah.
affected and ready to rock.
I think in when it becomes available during maybe during this little bit of a winter season, it'd be interesting to get that thing on the dyno.
Oh yeah.
Maybe when the
Yeah.
gears and stuff are done, get it on the dyno, see what kind of power it's making, make sure it's fully dialed in. It'd be
And put some miles on it. Put some
yeah,
miles
put some
on that.
miles on it. If anything, I just want to just to see that thing on the dyno in a video and just see really
I
what
just
it's
want to
making.
hear it.
It'd be badass because we've been talking about it for so long, and I don't know that that engine's ever been dyno. Like there's estimates on it, and
Yeah,
when
I
they
don't
were,
think it ever has.
you
Number
know,
one. Number two, it'll also give me the opportunity to get it in fifth gear for the first time.
yeah, that's true.
Because I
Yeah,
tried the other day. I mean, it's just, yeah, I need about 20 miles of road and no one on the road next to me.
yeah. Well, the gear change in the rear will help, right? If you're gonna,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah. It's
because it won't be as long. It won't be because it's
it's
not really a
a
top
different
speed
beast
car.
right now.
It's
No, no, I don't want it to be a top speed car by any means because reaching that there, what is the top speed's 200 miles an hour in that thing. And I
yeah,
wouldn't imagine, I could never imagine going anywhere close to that in that car.
yeah,
It's just like you're driving on a little go-kart. And as you're increasing the speed, parts of it feel like they're flying. It's just weird. I feel
yeah.
like Fred Flintstone driving a freaking sitting on top of a NASCAR motor. But that's what you want, right? So I mean, it is what it is.
All right, that'll be fun. Just really kind of see what those numbers are doing. But all right, guys, thanks so much for listening. And SEMA next week. Hopefully, you guys tune in. Follow us on social media. I'll try to get as many posts as we can. But yeah, it'll be busy. Until then, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.
Boom.